Hi, and welcome to Insuring Hotels and Motels and other types of accommodation risk. This is the third part of the series that's kind of concentrating on coverage issues. Most people, when you think about insuring hotels, think of them as rather cut and dried coverages. But there's several nuances that agents and underwriters need to keep in mind when they're designing insurance programs. In this video, I'm going to talk about a couple miscellaneous ones, specifically some things to watch out for in the whole area around surrounding named insureds. And then we're going to talk about floating hotel or vacation rental exposures. So welcome back. Welcome back to this video talking about insuring hotels and other types of accommodation risks. This is the third part of the series discussing CGL coverage issues. Overall, the Commercial General Liability Coverage Form CG0001 is well suited for hotels, motels, and similar risks. However, in some cases, there's a need for modifications to be adapted to special hazards and exposures. In this video, we're going to be talking about two. The first is about named insureds, and then we will move on to floating hotels and floating vacation rentals. With some types of hotels, motels, and resorts, there is a named insured issue. Particularly with condominium complexes that are operated as hotels. You have issues with vacation rental groups and associations, such as maybe places like Airbnb and even timeshare resorts. And the question is, just what the heck do you do about the unit owners? The CG0001 has a fairly broad named insured array, and it covers people like owners, partners, executive officers and directors, trustees, employees and volunteers, and even real estate managers. But what you don't see on that list would be unit owners of those condominiums. One option to deal with this issue would be to add some form of blanket named insured wording for the named insured to include those unit owners. And this would actually be the preferred option because it actually would extend the coverage from the policy to those individual owners as if they were one of the named insureds. I mean, you could do some sample wording such as ABC Resort Inc. and all individual unit owners, or ABC Resort Inc., including an individual unit owner. A second option would be to add those unit owners as additional insureds. This is what I believe to be a less preferred option. You could utilize some of the ISO forms. For example, if it's a condominium complex, you could use CG 2004. If it's a homeowners complex, you could use CG 2017. Or if it's a timeshare, you would probably have to go and use the catch-all, which is CG 2026. But even adding these folks as additional insured, you don't provide the appropriate coverage that those owners would need. Therefore, unit owners should purchase their own individual CGL coverage. Let's take a quick look at those additional insured forms. CG 2004 only adds coverage for those unit owners with respect to liability arising out of the premises that is not reserved for exclusive use or occupancy of the unit owner. Likewise, CG 2017, there is no coverage with respect to the liability arising out of the individual units. Now, if you add CG 2026, there is coverage for acts related to performance of your ongoing operations would be the hotel operations, or in connection with your premises owned by or rented to you. With that second clause, you might see some exclusion of the individual units. If we take a look at the coverage provided by those additional insured forms, we'll understand why the individual unit owners would still have to buy their own CGL coverage. First of all, the CG 20044 condominium complexes, they only cover with respect to liability arising out of the premises not reserved for exclusive use or occupancy of the unit owner. Therefore, that individual interior condo is not covered. Now, CG 2017, there is no coverage with respect to any liability arising out of the individual units. On CG 2026, they provide coverage for acts related to performance of your ongoing operations, which would be the hoteling operations, in connection with your premises owned by or rented to you. Now, the individual unit owner does not own any of that bigger complex. So you could have a situation there where there might be a gray area, whether or not there is any liability coverage provided for the interior use of that unit. One other area that you might find with hotels and motels and similar types of risk is you might find actually some floating hotels. We're finding that converted ocean liners like the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California serves as a hotel. You might find that there are some river boats that have converted into hotels, and they're both permanently moored to the shoreline. And you might even see maybe some floating vacation rentals up in like Washington, where that seems to be a common thing, or even maybe some stationary houseboats that are not designed to actually move around the lake or around the body of water. When we look at the Watercraft Exclusion that is in the CG 0001, we will find an exception of that exclusion, where that exclusion does not apply to any watercraft while ashore or on premises you own or rent. But obviously these floating rentals or the Queen Mary, they're actually not on shore, or it would not, the exclusion would not apply to any watercraft that's less than 26 feet long, which again probably doesn't fit any of those vacation rentals and definitely doesn't fit the Queen Mary, and that is not being used to carry passengers or property for a charge. So, even B might be exclusionary too, because after all, people do pay to stay on those hotels. So the fact that you have those issues, you need to do something to modify coverage. The fix is actually a very easy and quick fix. ISO has a form called Boats. It's CG 2412, and it actually, you can schedule certain types of watercraft to be covered. In this case, in that example, you could just type into the schedule floating houses or the Queen Mary, and you've actually extended the coverage. We've actually come to an end of this video, and in the next video in the hotel series, we're actually going to start addressing how to underwrite and evaluate hotels and motels and similar types of risks. If you found this video helpful, please be sure to like it and subscribe to future videos. If you have any questions about the subject matter in this video, please leave the question in the comment section below, or you can email us at richard.uwresource@cox.net. And again, remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. The subject matter in this video is approved for CE credits in several states and available for in-house classes. If you're interested in scheduling an in-house CE session, contact us via email at richard.uwresource@cox.net. And thank you.